Hey guys, I'm Liz. This is my LuminAID PackLite TITAN. I've been using this for the past 4 months, and here are all the different tests and experiments that I did with this lantern. You can find everything you need to know on the screen here. I'm going to share everything I know with you, including all my thoughts, pros, and cons right now. First up, we have the unboxing. I bought this Titan brand new from REI Co-op, and here's what it looks like when I first got it in the mail. The packaging is very simple. It's just the lantern, not even in a box, but just in this plastic sleeve thing. And I'll show you the front and back of the packaging right now. And of course, here's the actual unboxing. It's just a plastic sleeve with a Ziploc seal at the top. Just get it open and take everything out. And here's what you get in the box. This is the empty plastic sleeve, the lantern itself of course, and also some instructions. Want to guess what's missing here? I'm missing the charging cable. I got one with my PackLite Max, and here's what it looks like. Luckily, you can use any USB to micro USB cable you have at home to charge this. This is just another cable I had lying around, and when I plug it in to charge the Titan, this red light here means it's charging. So overall, I guess it's not a super big deal. Now to start using this lantern, we've got to inflate it first, and here's how to do that. At the bottom, you'll notice this plug that seals up a valve. Unplug that first. After that, grab the lantern base with one hand, at the same time making sure that the plug isn't covering the valve by having it rest against my finger instead, and then also grab the top of the lantern with your other hand. Then just pull apart with both hands while twisting it about 90 degrees, and your lantern inflates just like that. And of course, close up the valve after you're done. Now that we've got the Titan inflated, here's a quick rundown on all the features that you'll get with it. First up, this can be inflated and deflated with this valve at the bottom. You've already seen that. The body of this lantern has these folding points that allow it to be collapsed completely, and of course expanded as well. At the top, you'll find quite a few features as well. We have this adjustable Velcro strap, which has 2 carabiner loops, one on the left and the other on the right. As we remove the strap, we'll find the solar panel. There's also this fully waterproof port cap. Take that out, and you'll find both the input and output of this lantern. Beside that, we've got the power button right here. And beside that, we have the red and white mode switch. The battery indicator lights are to the right, and if we press this red battery button here, that shows how much battery is in this lantern with these 4 lights. This last button here shows whether this lantern is charging. Right now, it's not charging, so it's not lighted up. And of course, I'll go through every single one of the features in detail with you right now. Let's start with one of the most important features, the power button here. When you hit that button, that helps to turn on and off the light and also cycle through the different light modes. Speaking of which, what are the different light modes in this lantern? Well, there are 5 different light modes, each with different brightness settings. When the lantern is off, just click the power button once, and that'll give you the turbo mode, which is also the brightest mode. Click the button again for the high brightness mode, and again for the medium brightness mode. If you click it again, it'll give you the dimmest mode or the low mode, and after that you'll get this flashing SOS mode. Hitting the button again for the 6th time will turn the lantern off. It's a very simple to use lantern, and you can very easily cycle through the different modes you see on the screen here, and these numbers on the side correspond to the number of clicks of the power button. One thing I thought could have been improved though is a memory setting, because this Titan doesn't have one. So if you wake up in the middle of the night and turn on the lantern on the white mode, you will blind yourself with the extra bright turbo setting, because it always goes to that first. There is something that helps with that though, and that's the red mode. Remember the red and white buttons here? There are 2 separate buttons, so just click on the color that you want before you turn on the lantern. I like a less blinding red at night, so I'm just going to pick that. Then when you turn the Titan on, it'll immediately go to red. This is the turbo red though. 2nd click, bright red. 3rd click, medium brightness red. 4th click, dim red. 5th click, flashing SOS red. 6th click, the lantern turns off. The Titan does remember the last color you had on. I had red on, and it turns on red again, which is nice. I also really liked that at any brightness mode, so like the medium brightness mode, I can just change it to red or white immediately without annoyingly unnecessary cycling through the different modes. Altogether, this Titan has a whopping 10 light modes. 5 of them are in white, and the other 5 are in the red mode. That is a very impressive number of light modes. This lantern is not confusing at all. You can get used to all the different light modes very easily. That's because there are 3 separate buttons here, which makes it very user-friendly and very easy to learn how to use. If you want to check out how the Titan looks like on all these different light modes, here's a quick little montage that I've put together that you can check out. One thing I want to point out though is the user friendliness of the buttons. These buttons are flushed with the top of the lantern, which makes them difficult to locate in the dark. But one tip I have for you here is to look for the raised power port cap, and after that you know that the buttons are right beside it. This is me closing my eyes and spinning the Titan around in the dark. Now I'm just going to continue closing my eyes and looking for the buttons. Notice that it takes me no more than 5 seconds to look for the buttons because I went looking for the power port first. That was just a small tip I wanted to give you, and now I gotta go back to talking about the light modes, and more specifically, what is the lumen output of each light mode. Here's all the info that I could find on each of the light modes. I got this info in the Titan user guide. Are these lumen outputs accurate though? That's exactly what I want to test here by using this lux meter. This will show you exactly how many lumens this Titan is giving out, and I have to face it directly towards the light. I will try to show you the readings, but they will drop immediately when I turn the meter to face you, so keep an eye on it. Got it? Okay, let's go. Turbo white, we've got a reading of 316 lumens. White on high brightness, 191 lumens. Medium brightness on white, 99 lumens. Low brightness on white, 1 lumen. Great, now that's all done, here's all the info on the lumen output that you might need to know. Or maybe you don't need to know it, but I'm just going to give it to you anyway. Overall, I thought the official specs were quite accurate. One more thing, it was really difficult to measure the flashing SOS mode, but I'm pretty sure it's flashing at about the low brightness mode, so I'm just going to put the same lumen output for both. Now, we're not exactly done with the different light modes. One question I haven't answered yet is how long do these modes last for? Well, it says here that it has a max runtime of 100 hours. Is this accurate? Well, of course I did the testing, and here's what I found. When I ran the Titan on its max brightness, on a full charge, I got a runtime of almost exactly 5 hours. Now, what about the dimmest setting? Does that run for 100 hours? It ran for a whopping 250 hours. I kid you not, 250 hours. As you might imagine, I'm a little impressed with this Titan. It's looking pretty good so far. One thing though, I noticed that around the 243 hour mark, the light in the Titan got dimmer. It continued getting dimmer and dimmer until it finally went flat out at about the 250 hour mark. I'm not sure exactly how to count that, but I guess I'll just take it as 250 hours. If you're wondering how long the other light modes run for, here's what I found in the Titan user guide again. I think they should be pretty accurate, and I think you'll get more than what you actually see here. Still not done with the different light modes, here's another question I want to answer. What is the max shine area of this Titan? Again, I tried to find the info for this, and LuminAID says that it has a 300 square foot lighting area. And here's roughly what a 300 square foot lighting area looks like. I got this info from the official website. Is this accurate? Let's find out. Here's the Titan in the middle of my yard on the turbo mode. This is at like 3+ a.m. in the morning. I try to have it as dark as possible, and I'm going to measure this distance right here, which is the max distance this Titan can throw its light. Now, here you see my trusty lux meter again, right up close to the Titan. Remember, keep an eye on the meter, and now I'm going to back away from the Titan until I hit a spot where it shows a 0 lumen reading. I'll speed this up a little bit, and this is the exact moment where I hit a 0 lumen reading. That's the Titan, and this is the exact spot where the lux meter cannot detect any more light from the lantern. I'm also going to measure this distance. That came in at about 9.5 of my footsteps, and to be more specific, that's about 98.2 inches, which is about 8.2 feet or 2.5 meters. Does this give me a lighting area of 300 square feet? No, and I don't mean that in a good way. To have a shine area of 300 square feet, I would need a shine radius of at least 9.8 feet. But in my testing, I got a shine radius of only 8.2 feet. What shine area does that give me? Just 211 square feet, which is 2/3 the amount that I was expecting. Not great, but also not the worst. Why? Let me explain. When it comes to tent camping, the shine radius is actually pretty decent. What kind of a tent can this lantern light up? Let's take a look at another graph, and this time I want to show you the dimensions of a Coleman Sundom 6-person tent. This tent has a length of 9.7 feet and a width of 9.6 feet. This is a total base area of about 93 square feet. And a Titan, well, it has a radius of 8.2 feet. That's just in one direction. So the total shine distance on both sides is 16.4 feet. And of course, you know the shine area comes in at 211 square feet, which is way more than enough for a 6-person tent. If you want, this tent can light up even an 8-person Coleman tent and even a 10-person Coleman tent. I'll leave some dimensions on the screen here so you can check them out. So yeah, even though the PackLite Titan doesn't have as big a lighting area as I was expecting it to, it can easily light up an entire 10-person tent and even bigger tents. But I just don't have any bigger tents to show you. Maybe next time. For now, I'll show you the Titan in a 6-person tent, which is the size of tent that most of you guys use. This is the Titan on its max brightness, so that's the turbo mode in my 6-person Sundom tent. And look at the bottom of the tent. Notice how every single thing is lighted up nicely. On this brightest setting, you can do all kinds of stuff in the tent, like read a book. Check out what I'm seeing when I read a book. Every board in the page is lighted up, and you don't have to strain your eyes at all. I'll also show you clips of roughly what the other brightness settings look like as well. You can check out this other montage here. Basically, most of the modes are fine for doing all kinds of stuff like reading and playing cards, except for the dimmest low brightness mode. That's best used for chilling and lying in bed. That's always the mode I go to when I'm just lazing about. I mean, if you take a look at the tent on the dimmest brightness, nothing is lighted up at all. It's more of just a little nightlight. And here's what all the different modes look like from the outside of the tent. First up, we've got the brightest turbo mode, the pretty bright high mode, the medium brightness, the dimmest brightness, and also the flashing mode. I thought the light quality of this lantern was decent. The white is more of a cool white, coming in at 5900 to 6500 Kelvin. That's the light temperature. The outer globe is quite frosted, so it doesn't feel like the LEDs are too glaring. But of course, it's not great for winding down. That's where the red mode comes in. Now this is the red on max brightness, so turbo mode inside the tent, you can check out how it looks like. Even on the max brightness, the color is still too dim to do anything like read or play cards. This is my book on turbo mode. You can't really see very much at all, and you do have to strain your eyes. And of course, on the dimmest red mode, there's no way you can read at all. It actually doesn't even look like there's much light in the tent at all. Here's what all the different red modes look like in another little montage. And from the outside of the tent as well. And if you're wondering what the lumen output is for the red modes, I don't think that LuminAID has that info, so I'm just going to give my testing results to you here. Notice that the red light lumen output is like 10 times dimmer than the white light lumen output in every single mode, including turbo mode, high brightness mode, and even medium mode. That's why the red light is really great at night for not blinding you in the middle of the night. Now, enough with the light modes. The next feature we're going to talk about is the charging port. When you open it up, you'll see two different ports. One is a regular USB and the other one is a micro USB. Let's talk about the regular USB first, and that's the charging output. So you can grab your phone cable. Mine is USB to Lightning cable because I use an iPhone, and you can just plug it into the regular USB. After that, to start the charging output, you gotta press this button. It says here, press for output. When you do so, the battery lights will turn on. I've got a full charge on this, so there are 4 battery lights and your phone will start charging. I'll show you screenshots of the entire charging, and I'm starting off with a 17% charge. 12 minutes in, 29% charge. I notice here that the battery lights drop down to 3 lights. Half an hour in, 42% charge. 50 minutes, 56% charge, and the battery lights drop down to 2. 1 hour-ish in, 68% charge. 1 hour 20 minutes, 76% charge, and just 1 battery light left. 1 hour 45 minutes, 88% charge, and no more battery lights. 2 hours, 93% charge. 2 hours 20 minutes, 97% charge. And this is where I plugged my phone out. The next day, I tried to charge my phone again, and I could only squeeze 2% charge out from 37 to 39%. So here's where we're at. The first day, I've got a total of about 80% charge. Second day, just a minimal 2% charge. The total charge is at about 82%, which is only about one full charge of my iPhone. The time it took me was about 2.5 hours. I was actually a little disappointed because I thought I would get a bigger charge. This Titan is supposed to have an extra large 4,000 milliampere hour battery, and the capacity of my iPhone 12 is only 2,815. Where did the leftover charge go? Well, I noticed that after the Titan refused to charge my phone anymore, it still had some leftover light. I estimate that's about 5 to 10%. How much light will this give you? Well, that gives me anywhere between 15 minutes to half an hour on the super high mode, which I won't recommend if you're trying to conserve your battery. Instead, use the low mode, which will give you 10 to 25 hours of light left. Now, the next feature I want to talk about is the battery indicator lights. Pressing the output button will show you how much battery you have left, so between 1 bar to 4 bars. I couldn't find any info on them, so I'm just going to assume that each one means about 25%, since there are 4 lights altogether. What did I notice in my testing? Well, I'm going to give you the test results when I was running the lowest brightness test, the highest brightness test, and also the charging output test. Here's all the info that I think you may need. I wouldn't say that the battery lights are the best here, but I think they're okay. They do give you a rough gauge of how much battery you have left. But, and there is a but here, I found these battery lights super annoying when it came to the next test, and that's the USB charging test. Why? Well, this is my Titan that I used until it was almost completely drained with just 1 light left. I just plugged it in right now and it goes straight to 4 lights straight away. How and why it does that, I have no idea. And because of the wonky lights, you can't tell when it's done charging. That was so frustrating to me. There's also this little red light that stays on when it's charging, but this also doesn't tell you when it's done charging or not, because it just stays there as long as you have the Titan plugged in. The only info that I got from LuminAID is that you're supposed to charge it via USB for between 2 to 4 hours. So that's exactly what I did, and here's all the info that I got, put in a nice little table so that hopefully it makes a little bit more sense now. All these timings are give or take about 5 minutes. I just rounded them up or down to make them look nicer and make it easier to understand. Basically, the only thing you need to know is that 2 hours of charging will give you the max runtime possible on the Titan. Anything longer than 2 hours of charging will not give you a longer runtime. I tested it all the way until like 4 hours of charging, which is nuts. Now, this Titan can also be charged via solar energy, but this will take much longer in about 16 to 20 hours of sun, so that's about 1.5 to 2 full days. Is this accurate there? Sadly, not quite. I left my Titan out in the sun for a whole 12 hours, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and that's sunrise and sunset for me. This is just an average day, not super sunny, but at the same time not too cloudy, so this is roughly what the day looked like. After 1 day of charging, the battery indicator here only came up to 2 lights. I did some further testing with the Titan and I found that I got about a 25% charge. In terms of runtime, here's roughly what you can expect. I got about 1 hour and 15 minutes of runtime on the turbo mode, or about 60 hours of runtime on the 1 lumen nightlight mode, which is really impressive. Although to get the Titan to a full charge, I needed about 4 days of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. charging, 5 to 6 days if it's cloudier, and about 2 to 3 days if it's sunny. That's just roughly what to expect when solar charging this lantern. The next feature of this Titan is this orange Velcro strap. It's very big, very easy to carry around, and very user-friendly. If you want to stow the lantern away though, after deflating it, just restrap the Velcro to the back of the lantern like this. This also makes it easy enough to hang up in a tent. This is my Sundome tent, but the loop was barely big enough and it was a tight fit. And because the Velcro strap may be too big for some tents and lantern loops, they also included carabiner loops to the left here and also to the right, so that you can hook a carabiner in and then hook it up in the tent. Or on your backpack, whichever one you prefer. As for the IPX rating of this Titan, that comes in at a rating of IP67. I think all LuminAID products have this same rating. This means that it can be submerged in water up to 1 meter for up to 30 minutes. But first I'm going to test this in some heavy rain. To be more specific, 30 minutes of heavy rain. I had the Titan drenched from almost every angle and I found that after this heavy rain test, it was still working great. I did pull open the port though and I found that the inner cap was slightly damp, and there was even one drop of water kinda near the ports. Let's see how it'll do in the next water test. Next, I dunked the Titan in water for a full 30 minutes, completely submerged like this. I had to tie the strap of the Titan to a pole because it's super dang buoyant and keeps wanting to float to the top. Without tying it to anything, it'll just float at the top with water like this. After 30 minutes of being submerged, I then pulled it out. I found that it was still lighted up and working great. I checked it more and I found that all the functions still work great, like both the white and red lights. What about the port though? Well, I'll pull it open and it's, a little bit more damp than I thought it would be, with water droplets all around the two ports. But thankfully, when I checked inside the port, there was no water at all and it was still fine. For the drop testing, I dropped this Titan from hand height and it was still working great without a single scratch on it at all. I also dropped it down a small slope, and because of its square shape, it doesn't really roll away too much. I really like how it doesn't roll away like the other more circular shaped lanterns that I have, so you don't have to run after this to catch it. Finally, I picked it up and checked it out, and yep, still working great. For portability, this Titan weighs about 11.9 ounces or about 338 grams if you need that conversion. And without deflating it yet, the size comes in at about 5 3/4 inch by 5 3/4 inch at the top because it's a square, and that's about 14.6 centimeters each. The height without deflating also comes in at about 5 3/4 inches or 14.6 centimeters, so basically it's a cube all around. Now, to deflate this lantern, here's what you gotta do. First, pull off the valve cap again and make sure that it doesn't block the valve at all. It tends to like to do that, but the valve is where all the air is going to come out from, so it can't be blocked. After that, just hold both ends of the lantern with both hands, same as the inflation process, and twist 90 degrees again according to the lines on the lantern body. Just a small twist and it should go back to being super compressed. Now, based on all of these tests that you've seen, exactly why do I think that this is such a great solar lantern? First, I love the twist to inflate design. Just twist the lantern and it'll pop up or compress down. I'll put real-time clips of both the inflation and deflation of the Titan on the screen here, and as you can see, it takes only a few seconds to inflate and deflate it. To be more specific, I would say it takes only about 2 seconds. On the other hand, most other solar lanterns, like those on the screen here that require you to breathe into the lantern to inflate it, usually take more like 10 to 15 seconds, which is 5 times as long. With the Titan, I don't have to use my breath at all, and this even gives it a leg up in durability, and that's my second pro. I found that most solar lights are very drop-proof and very waterproof as well. This Titan is no exception, but it has an added layer of durability. Even if I happen to puncture this lantern, it will still pop up and compress down real easy. If you take a look at the valve, it's just one gaping hole at the bottom, which shows that holes in this lantern will not affect its ability to inflate. On the other hand, with the other solar lanterns you've seen so far, once these are punctured or the valve is opened, it will no longer inflate and hold their shapes. The next humongous pro to this Titan is that it has a boatload of light modes, 10 to be more specific, double all of the other solar lanterns that I've officially tested for this channel. And that's because on top of its cool white mode, the Titan also has the super nice red light mode, which none of the other lanterns have. Also, with 3 very user-friendly buttons on the Titan, even with its boatload of light modes, it's still super user-friendly and easy to use with no learning curve at all. Another big pro I found with the Titan is its super impressive runtime. Look at how its longest runtime compares to the longest runtime of my other solar lantern so far. Basically, it has anywhere between 5 to 6 times the longest runtime of these other solar lanterns, and I'm not even close to being done yet. The Titan also has the biggest shine area of all these other solar lanterns, and here's how all these 4 solar lanterns compare against each other. Based on all these shine radius results that I've got in my testing, I also calculated the total lighting area of each lantern, and here are the mind-boggling results. Basically, the Titan has almost double the lighting area of your average solar lantern, and as you would have seen in my previous test, this amount of lighting on the highest turbo mode can light up an entire 8 to even 10% tent. That's really very impressive, and you get why I love the Titan so much now, right? Wait, but I'm not done yet. I also noticed that the Titan has a bigger than average solar panel coming in at 4 by 4 inches. That's this square at the top of the lantern. How does this compare to my other solar lanterns I've tested so far? Well, here are the results. And again, the Titan beats them all. It's about 30% bigger than the base light, 66% bigger than the PackLite Max, and 90% bigger than the Lucy Pro from M-Powered. I thought that was very impressive, and that's why the Titan gave me the most charge compared to the rest of them too. And one last pro, the Titan also packs down smaller than my solar lanterns from M-Powered. The Titan comes in at about 1.1 inches thick, or about 2.8 centimeters, as you can see here, while both my M-Powered lanterns came in at about 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches thick. This isn't a very significant difference, to be honest, but I still think it's the little details that count. Now, what are the cons of the Titan? There are a few small cons. The first one is that when you go to the official website, you'll say that it says here that this lantern charges 2 to 3 phones, which is not accurate at all. For me, it was just one full charge and that's it. After that, I was down to like less than 10% battery. Just take note of that. The Titan and the base light from M-Powered here were just as good with the exact same battery capacity. And if you're wondering how the M-Powered Lucy Pro and the PackLite Max from LuminAID did, well, they gave me half the charge since the battery capacity was halved. And another con I also noticed is that the warranty is very short, coming in at just 1 year. I don't know why solar lanterns only give a 1 year warranty. I noticed that for both my M-Powered and LuminAID lights. But overall, I do believe that the pros do outweigh the cons very, very much, and I think that the Titan is easily one of the best solar camping lanterns out there. If you want to check out how it compares to other rechargeable lanterns, check out this video on the left, and I'll also put a video on the right on solar lanterns when that's up in the next few months. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.